Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And I just wanted to do another impromptu live stream video for those of you who are probably, hopefully, working, doing your eBay stuff. I took a little break this morning, or actually this afternoon, to do this live stream. Getting a lot of stuff done here, but I just thought I would check in with you guys to see how you were doing, any questions, that kind of thing. We're at the nearing the end of October, and guys, it's one of those things where you got to get gearing up right now, get your stuff listed. It's very important that you have your stuff in your store ready to go. Um, we're already kind of late in the game. Crystal Antiques, hi John, how you doing? Thank you for joining another impromptu live stream. I apologize. We're kind of waiting for people to kind of come into the chat here. For those of you who are watching this on a replay, do me the favor that I always ask you to do, and that is hit that like button. That really helps the channel immensely. Of course, some people don't like to subscribe to channels. I certainly respect that. But if you do like um, channels like this, please consider subscribing. And if you want to be notified when I make these live streams, just kind of I like 15 minutes ago, I decided, you know what, let's see what'll happen if I go live. Um, just wanted to take a break, really working hard, getting stuff listed, but thought that I would check in with you guys and see how everyone is doing. We have Mama Three living frugally. Thank you for the comment on that. Great channel. Deborah, HJK. Hi, everyone. And there's only like 8 people in the chat, or actually watching this live stream right now. So I wasn't really expecting a whole lot, but I'm hoping that you would maybe provide any questions that you have in the chat, or if you're watching this after the fact, provide that in the comment section down below, and I will try to get back to you with an answer, or someone else hopefully would do the same thing. We have Ed, the reselling writer. Hey, John, long time no live. How you been? Pretty good. You missed my last impromptu live stream. I think it was about a little over a week ago on the weekend, and that one went really, really well. We had a lot of people that tuned in. Morning, squishy humans from Australia. Okay, so right now, what is it? Tuesday morning. It must be early in the morning, but I know that the title says Monday morning motivation, but you can certainly, or morning afternoon motivation, but you can certainly use this any day of the week. And, I can tell you by looking at my sales, I don't know how your sales were over the weekend. Like I mentioned in my last video, I had a $1,200 day. Awesome, exciting. Looking forward to the weekend. Friday came and went, less than 500. And then it's like that roller coaster ride that you just are terrified of taking. You hit that drop. And I took Saturday off. It's almost like eBay knows. I took Saturday off. I did list my drafts that morning before I did anything, and I had less than $100 in sales. Followed up Sunday a little bit better. I wasn't totally attentive to my store. I was watching football and all the stuff that guys do, or many guys do. Today's off to a decent start, but I can't let that I can't be unmotivated by that. I have to continue. I know that sales are going to happen, but I'm more encouraged by the fact that my sales chart shows from the 13th through the 21st, really the 22nd, really good sales activity. And I know during that time, I don't think I took a day off. I busted my butt. And you know what? This is the time of year to do that. We have a lot of people buying stuff. You're going to get people that are going to start finding out that the malls or their local department stores aren't going to have as much stuff as they're hoping to buy for Christmas. And that's where we come in. So hopefully we'll see an uptick in sales above and beyond this. Still pretty happy. I'm about $3,200 in sales the last week. So that translated over a month is a $12,000 month, and I'll take that every day of the week. It is now 7 a.m. in Australia. So good morning, good Tuesday morning to you in Australia. Got ETC host. What's up? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate that. And then here's a question from Darren, JKHQ. Do you find listings are more important than multiple quantity listings? Say, for example, I have a product that costs $20, but have 20 of them instead of listing 20 separate items at the same price. So yeah, you can do that with like one listing with variations. Let's say you have 20 items, they're like different sizes, if it's clothing, that type of thing. But I think, and I know that eBay frowns on you listing the same item over and over again. You can do it. In fact, I have done it. You have to change the wording in your title around, and that will help. I do that, for instance, if I have a listing that maybe I have like 10 new ones, another 5 that are open box, not quite, in the same condition as these sealed ones, and maybe another 3 or 4 that have some kind of issue with it, and I want to get them listed. Well, I don't want to do that as a variation because they'll see that as a new item in the variation. Maybe they'll look for the cheapest one and be confused thinking they're getting a new item. And so I list, and I really don't like doing variations myself, but I list separate listings in that case. But if they're all the same, then one listing suffice. And I think it actually helps the algorithm because if you let's say sell 4 or 5 of them, eBay is going to see that that's an active item, an item that people want. And there's a strategy that people use that they'll sell their first 3 or 4 let's say out of your 20 at a very low price just to get that listing going. And then they'll up the price back to what they want. And that also has helped some people that I've spoken to. We have Johan F. Hey guys, I'm barely getting impressions after the 12th, 20 per day per item. So frustrating filling all item specifics and still nothing, I guess, huh? I would say that if you watched Don, the auction professor, I think over the weekend, he was having some issues just getting thousands upon thousands of item specifics or listings with item specifics. And I think he kind of just threw in the towel on that. But I think it has to do with certain categories. If I'm looking at my performance, my traffic, I'll just pull that up while I'm speaking here. I'm around 75,000 impressions a day. Over the weekend, after Friday, that looked like it was down to about 60, 65. And I sell everything. So I don't sell one particular category. I don't sell collectibles or anything like that, but I sell pretty much anything you can buy on Amazon. I had that one huge day. Actually, I had about, it was weird, 200,000 impressions the Sunday before last. Sold only 8 items, and everything kind of returned back to normal and then went downhill over the weekend. So I don't know if it's, people, let's say, are maybe running out of money, waiting till the first. Really just don't know. My page views are consistent. It's just that wavy little graph. And it's important that you guys take time to look at your traffic. You go into performance in your seller hub, click on traffic, and just see if you see any abnormalities. I could tell you last year, I had a point where I didn't have any page views or impressions for like 3 or 4 days. And finally they fixed it. So make sure you have activity. Even your worst of stores, your smallest of stores are going to have some activity by virtue of the fact you have listings up. Darren, love your videos and have been watching every one of them for years. Well, thank you. Well, hopefully you have been watching them for more than 2 years, because I've only been doing this since the beginning of 2020. And really, I'm thankful to have where we're going on 9,000 subs. So if you haven't subscribed, I would certainly appreciate that. I plan on having a live stream once I hit 10,000. I have a couple of eBay gifts that I like to give you guys that I've received over the last 6 months. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Hey, John, Tuesday, 7 a.m. in Victoria, Australia. So good morning. Good Tuesday morning, Carolyn. I appreciate that. We have Water Baby. Hi, everyone. How you doing? We have someone, Darren is in Northern Ireland. Wow, that's awesome. And I'm sure that is probably early Tuesday morning. I'm not sure. How do you feel about buyers who have no feedback and it says their account was set up recently? You know, everyone has to start sometime. I don't let that alarm me. Now, if we're talking a high value item, a high dollar value item, I may um, get hesitant on it because uh, someone just setting up an account just to buy your expensive item, that might be cause of alarm. Just your everyday item in my store, though, I just ship it out, and everything usually works out. I find that the scammers or the people that defraud me usually have some kind of feedback. They have an idea how eBay works before they start pulling their, whatever on the seller. And I don't find that. Now, that's to say, I've seen some zero feedback sellers or buyers try to get over on the seller. That's happened to me before, but it's not worth causing a great alarm unless you're dealing with a high value item. And then maybe I would consider, saying, hey, I don't want to sell this, call eBay or whatever. I'm talking like $500 or more. If it's anything less than that, I'm just selling it. Is it a bad omen? Sketchy, especially on especially I can't even speak today. I'm sorry. Especially on an expensive item. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad omen. You've got to protect yourself because eBay is not going to protect you at all. There's so many things that a buyer can do that can really hurt you as a seller. So you have to, at some point, be proactive and protect yourself. I don't think it's sketchy, especially if you've been burned before. How much are you into the item for? If you're into the item for 10, $20 and it happens to be, a high value item, maybe you can deal with that kind of risk. But if you're into that item for $200, $300, honestly, I'm taking a good look at the address. Where am I shipping this to? I'm just kind of taking in how I feel about it, and I may end up, canceling the order. But I would probably contact eBay first and let them know, hey, I do not want to sell this. But I have never had that happen yet. So hopefully it hasn't happened to you. And let me know what you guys think down below on that. It's kind of a hit and miss thing, because what are you going to say? You're not going to say I'm out of stock on the item, because you're not. You're not going to say it's buyer asked to cancel because they didn't. And you really can't say issue with address because there probably isn't one. So what can you say there? And again, it kind of falls back onto everyone has to start at some point. Maybe reach out to your buyer and say, hey, just wanted to touch base with you before I ship this out. See if you get a response, that type of thing. Put your comments down below and tell me what you guys think on that. Okay, so we have hi. I'm assuming you're talking to me. Hi, John. What's Christmas product sale the most? Please advise. Glasgow 9:10 p.m. Well, I would say this time of year we're getting into electronics, toys, things like that, video game systems. These are going to be your hot selling items going forward. Within the next month and a half, you're going to see a lot of that sell. So if you can source that, and that's the biggest thing, right? What can you source? If you're able to source things like that, let me know. I'd like to source that as well. It's very hard to find electronics, that are consistent. If you can find that one supplier that's going to supply you with the same electronic toy item, that's a gold mine to me. I do have some electronics that my last video I showed you guys what I was able to source. I think I have like 5 or 6 baby monitors. A lot of times people will tend to, when times are rough, they'll tend to gravitate towards things they need as instead of buying things that they want. And I think things like baby monitors and your everyday household type thing that people need is also something that's in supply, that's in demand. And if you can find that, then awesome. That's kind of what I look for. Is it true if you use list perfectly, you can't use variation listings? I can't answer that because I used it for maybe a month just to try it out, and I don't really use variations, so I didn't see that. But if anyone has used List Perfectly and can answer that down below, I would think that everyone would appreciate that. Let's see. I sold a $100 item and sent it out today to a new buyer with no feedback, half expecting it to have trouble down the line. Fingers crossed. We'll see. I don't think I'd lose sleep over that. As a seller, we kind of get worried, whenever we sell, even me, to somebody that maybe has hundreds of feedback, I'll send an item to, and I hope that everything works out good. With USPS, we're going to be into that season where they're going to start losing our packages. I mean, I hate to say that everything's fixed, but they've shown us, at least they showed me, no indication that they've fixed that problem. I've seen many stories still where people are dealing with lost items, and we're not even in December yet. So let's hope that is fixed, because that is a problem. I think that's a bigger problem than what you're fearing is just a no feedback buyer. So I wouldn't really worry about it too much here. My buddy Julio, how you doing, Julio? Let's see. And he has an awesome store. I'm not going to give you the store, of course. He'd kill me if I did that. But he sells a lot of really cool movie memorabilia. And yeah, if he comes out here and says, go ahead and share it, I might do that. But yeah, he's really kicking butt. So that's motivating to me just to see how well he's doing. The Tommy Bernard podcast. Lots of new buyers using guest checkout. Can't have in fear of business. If you get scammed, it's a write-off. You just have to, and people hate using that term, but it's the cost of doing business. I don't like it when things happen like that, but at the end of the day, it's just a small drop in the bucket from what you're going to make throughout the year. And you can't allow that to make you want to quit, make you feel unmotivated. That's the type of thing that can really cause you to just say, hey, I quit. I felt that way before my first year full time. I've had people that I've talked and helped into this business that have actually quit because of things like that. And you just can't allow it to cause you to do that, because there's more good than bad in this business. Ed, the reselling writer. That's why when it comes to really expensive items, I like it when it sells on Mercari or Poshmark. Yeah, that would be awesome if we could. That's never going to happen on eBay, by the way. But is there going to be a day where eBay pushes everyone to the brink where they just don't want to bother with eBay anymore, and people gravitate towards sites like Mercari or Poshmark? It's certainly possible. It's certainly. Let's see. We have, and I'm trying to just go through some of these comments that have questions if I can find it here. The store is keeping you busy, it seems. It keeps me busy every day, from the time I wake up until usually the time I decide to create a video for you all or call it a night. And I do things in between, of course. If I was more concentrated, I could probably do 7-8 hours and be done and have the rest of my evening. But I source throughout the day. I do things that I take breaks, like doing this here. I could be listing right now, but I thought, you know what? I want to make a video, but at the same time, that's one of the toughest things as an eBay YouTuber. It's very difficult to come up with relevant content. I mean, I'm not the kind of YouTuber that's just going to make you a video just for the sake of making a video to make YouTube happy. I don't think there's any value in that. So that's the toughest part to me, is what do the viewers want to see? And, I get a lot of requests from people, hey, make this type of video, make that type of video. And when I do, it gets no interest. So also I want to grow the channel. And if I'm making videos that a lot of eBayers want to see on YouTube, then that's going to help grow the channel. If I make videos that only a couple want to see, then it's not going to do any good for the channel. We have 53 people watching. That's awesome. Hopefully I'm not interrupting your work day. Hopefully you're able to kind of listen if you are working. It's about 4:19 on the East Coast. So I'm sure many of you are still working or getting ready to call it a day. We have Carolyn A. Most of my items are over $100 and $350. Don't really have problems with scammers or returns, thank goodness. And when they do, I'm sure they're few and far between. Here's an answer to that question about List Perfectly. At the moment, you can't use variations with List Perfectly, and Ed has been using it for 1 year. Let's see. What happens if you have a variation listing? It just can't be used, or what happens to it? I'm not sure I understand that question. What happens if you have a variation listing? It just can't be used, or what happens to it? I mean, are you talking about use condition on that? You might want to rephrase that question. Hi, John from Cali. Can you tell me how to get feedback from buyers? Well, you really, I know if you're trying to build an account, you really shouldn't reach out and say, hey, can you leave me positive feedback? You don't want negative feedback. Can you leave me positive feedback? Or what you can do, and I think it's a good touch, is you could reach out to your buyer and, click on contact buyer and say, hey, I'm just checking in with you. I just want to make sure that you received it okay and it's, it meets your needs. And if you have time, I would certainly appreciate it if you can leave me a positive feedback. Again, I'm thinking about all the negatives I had to deal with last week. But if you can leave me a positive feedback, that would be certainly appreciated. Something like that. I think it comes over the right way rather than, hey, how come you haven't left me a positive feedback? That gets sort of annoying, but I would leave it at that. I would never bother your buyers, but that would be a good touch. And you could actually type in, say, a Word document, type up something that's just generic, just checking in, want to make sure, that type of thing, and send it, copy paste to, your buyers that way. And I think that's a good touch if you're interested in trying to build up your feedback rating. Brandon Smith, they never stop delaying them. God forbid you order from California, Oregon, etc. I mean, it's all over the country. USPS, they are going to be delayed. Hopefully it's not to the magnitude that we had to deal with last year around the holidays. Let's see. Aussie Hustler, hi John. Another wonderful viewer from Australia, Melbourne, Australia. Finally out of lockdown Thursday night. I I never really followed that. I'm wondering if it's sort of like the lockdowns we had in the United States last year, after March, from March to like sometime in the summer, where they pretty much said you can't leave unless were going to the store or taking care of an errand, that type of thing. They didn't want you out and about. Let's see. Ed, they're selling writer. I'm actually getting more sales on Poshmark. Some days on eBay, you might be right. eBay might be pushing some buyers away. They already are with some sellers, of course, and some buyers. Again, I made a video a couple weeks ago, and it was talking about a post that I read where buyers can't find what they're looking for in search anymore. You have buyers that are looking for certain kinds of items and maybe had saved their searches for over a period of time, and now you can't find that anymore. So it's what we call in the call center business or dealing with customers, it's called creating what you want to do is, as a seller or in any kind of business, you want to create a low, geez, I'm not even having an ability to think today, but it's a low effort experience. There it is. So a low effort experience when dealing with whatever you're selling them. And so what eBay is doing is delivering a high effort customer experience, and that pushes people away. Why are you making your customers work to find the items that they're so used to finding? It doesn't make sense to me. And so if anything, they're going to push buyers away. Of course, by pushing buyers away, it kills our sales, and it's going to in turn push sellers to other venues where they can move their merchandise. So hopefully eBay can learn some lessons from this whole debacle. And Tommy has said, Ed, Facebook is doing the same for me some days with half listings. I wonder if it's also the economy. We hear about, at least I have been hearing about how things aren't looking good for the economy worldwide. And I'm just wondering if some of that has to do with, people losing their jobs, stepping down or being terminated because they don't accept the vaccine. And that's sort of not what this video is about. But you have a lot of people who are out of work right now. And I think that has a little something to do with it. It makes me wonder, if that wasn't going on, if we would be dealing with more sales, and a lot of you are complaining that you're getting nothing. And I know that's a lot of it's on eBay, but where's the demand at? And that's kind of what I'm wondering. I have a lot more stuff in my store than I've ever had, and my sales seem to be constant with my sales when I had 200 something items in the store. So, except for Thursday, which was an anomaly according to this chart. It's having a $1,200 day. eBay really needs to get their things ready. I agree. But they shouldn't be getting ready in Q4. I think they should use the spring update. Here comes summer. Things are inherently, for most categories, going to slow down. Let's use that as a time to test whatever we're planning on testing, so that when we hit Q4, we worked out all the kinks and people's listings are viewable, and we're not dealing with thousands of item specifics that need to be updated. Facebook is killer selling stuff there. I have had for over a year on eBay. Okay, so it doesn't seem like you're moving that too good. Tommy says just buy 100 penny items from China for instant feedback, although feedback isn't nearly as big as years ago. I used to buy, when I was building a new account, I actually would buy the 99-cent recipes. I figure, find something I may be interested in making later on down the road. Here I have the recipe. And, usually those sellers will give you feedback right away. That's good. You're only going to average 30% feedback roughly. So yeah, that's about right. And I don't chase feedback. I just think if the item was okay, it met their expectations, a good percentage are going to leave feedback, and a good percentage are just going to move on with life. Lifting lifting over 50, and says, hi John, I watched a video again about creating a coupon, but I'm wondering exactly when do you send it? Is it only when the item is awaiting shipping, or can I send it after I ship the item? Generally, I would say after you ship the item. It's up to you, but I believe that you get the option to do that. But I generally don't send out coupons. I use the public coupon, which attaches a little banner at the top of your listing and advertises to use whatever coupon code that you set and whatever discount you set it at. I think that, for me, if I'm looking at my marketing summary, I'm getting a lot of sales just from that coupon alone, more so than promoted listings or anything else. And if you guys have been using that public coupon, let me know how it's been working out for you, because I think it's great. Like I said, it's helped my sales tremendously. Let's see. Water Baby. Occasionally, I take a few days off listing and do a puzzle. It keeps me from getting burnout and grounded, kind of like meditation. I get a thinking break, best problem solving. And yeah, everyone needs to have something that they look forward to. It's just one of those things where, like for me, I have a Monday and Thursday night bowling league, and I make sure that, I do that every week. I'll play a round of golf here and there. I'll go hang out with my friend Julio and Mike and play a poker tournament out one of the casinos out here in Vegas. And for me, it's worth putting all the hours in when you have something to look forward to. When you have nothing to look forward to, then certainly it's a drag. And I want to thank Rose LaCastro. Thank you for the super chat, $5 super chat. Certainly, I appreciate that, and it does go to support the channel. I'm thinking about getting a better webcam. I don't know what the quality is to you guys, but looking at different things and maybe some different editing software, because I have OBS Studio. I don't know if many of you know what that is, but it allows me to do like a screen recording to show like eBay things, like my store, and it just doesn't live up to what I want. And sorry, there's a truck outside. but it doesn't live up to my expectations for the channel. So I'm thinking about getting something a little bit better than that. Ed says, I'm actually getting more sales on Poshmark some days than eBay. You might be right. eBay might be pushing some buyers away. Let's see. Yolanda, how are you doing, Yolanda? Good afternoon. Just getting home from my full-time gig. It's 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. I clock into eBay at 5. I'm assuming 5 a.m. Wow, that's pretty awesome. So Ed says, I'm getting sales, but you're right that it's mostly under $40 items. I do get over 60, but just not as often as my lower dollar items. And a lot of it depends on what you're selling. So if you have those high ticket items, I mean, you can sell them anytime. You can list them, they're going to sell. But for some, a lot of people are dealing with collectibles, and that's been a lot slower than it was, say, 2 weeks ago, which is concerning. Facebook is AI driven. They know what people want versus eBay having 3 to 4 different search results based on a multitude of criteria. If selling bread and butter, you really have to promote heavy. Yeah, you got to see, I think it's important to play the game that eBay asks you to play. So, if you click on your overview, make sure you're sending offers. Make sure, and there's a lot of people, even people from eBay, that recently have said, don't worry about populating all those item specifics. Well, for me, if it's there, there's a reason for it. Why would eBay make such a thing as a recommended item specifics? Why not just say, look, here are the required item specifics we're going to make for this item or this category. And as long as you're filling those out, fine. But to me, what purpose does it serve to have recommended item specifics if they don't want you to use them? So I'm going to fill mine out. It's going to be a little extra work, but my sales have been pretty good as a result. And you guys have seen my store. At least if you watch my videos, you've seen the stuff that I sell. There's nothing special. A lot of people would think that what I sell is junk, yet I'm selling it. And, if you're selling junk or new stuff for that matter, and you're not utilizing a lot of these things that eBay is asking you to do, then you might be leaving some money on the table. Let's see. The nice thing about selling on eBay is the worldwide audience, and you don't need to sit and shop every day and wait for customers. Right. Well, another nice thing is, name one job. I mean, yeah, you could talk about, I have a salary, but if you were working, like I had a salary for 11 years as in management, I was on call 24/7. So if on my day off there was an issue at the office and they needed me to come deal with that, like for instance, you all know that I worked for Amtrak. If there was an emergency, let's say something happened to one of the trains, I actually would have to come in and run that hotline for that, and I would get no more money for that. Well, not so with eBay. I list Monday through Friday. I'll use some drafts for Saturday and Sunday that I can just launch when I get up. We're talking 5 minutes, and I can enjoy the rest of my days off, but I'll make money. Name me one job where you're working Monday through Friday and you get paid almost the same, in some cases more, because weekends is a very hot selling period, where you get paid when you're out and about having a good time or whatever. So eBay is very, to me, it's very doable. I wouldn't go out and quit your full-time job to do eBay, but if you're at the point where you have enough experience, you have built up a good account, and you have the means to source good stuff to sell, I think it's definitely possible. And because of the whole COVID pandemic we were introduced to last year, it's changed the way a lot of people shop for stuff. Instead of going to the store, they're buying from home. So I think it's good for what we're all doing. I've been watching my traffic and have noticed that my views on external sites are skyrocketing and the views on eBay are barely up. Something is definitely wrong. It's not translating into sale. So I think there's something wrong with eBay with the changes they made for the fall winter update. I definitely do. And eBay has pretty much said that, even though they're saying that most of it's fixed. But I think there's still something wrong. And yes, you're going to get a lot of external views when you use those item specifics, because that's what Google is asking eBay to have the listings populated with this information. Good photos along with item specifics will give you more external views when someone's on a Google search looking for that item. They may not have even thought or want to deal with eBay. There's many times I'm doing product research. I'll go to a Google search, type in that information for that item because I want to find more about this item that I just pulled out of a liquidation lot. And it'll show me 3 or 4 eBay listings that, and in some cases, listings that I didn't even see in eBay search. So it's definitely something that I think is helping sales, those external searches. John, I noticed when you scrolled through your sales, many had both coupon and promoted highlighted. You may want to scroll through them. Um, well, yes. So like when you're looking through your orders, you can go and click on it and it'll tell you if someone utilized clicked on a listing that maybe you use promoted listings for. And it'll also say once they actually got into your listing as a result of it being ranked by promoted listings, they took advantage of that 5% off coupon that I had listed in the listing. And I'm looking at this. I see that there's a lot of them. I would say about half of the ones that use the coupon also were involved with some type of promoted listing. But I have some that just say sold via promoted listings. I have some that say nothing. They chose not to take advantage of the coupon. And of course, they were able to find my item through an organic listing and not a promoted listing. Let's see here. Yolanda, she says, not awesome. I just start working on my eBay store at 5 p.m. and stop around 8. That is a schedule I set for myself. I go to work at my full-time. See, if you have a full-time job, then yes. But you're putting in consistency. That's what eBay wants to see. So if it's 2-3 hours, that's the consistency that eBay wants from you. 9 out of 20 search results are reserved for promoted listings in normal categories. That leaves 11 spots for organic auctions and new listings. Organic, by the way, has the lowest priority. And I didn't know that. That's really good information. I didn't know the rhyme or reason behind, and I think you must have found that out through trial and error and research on your own, because eBay certainly, that from what I've seen, they haven't put anything out on here's how we do this and that type of thing. And I agree. Way to go, Yolanda. You're a hard worker. I think to go to work, come home, sure, you have to deal with family, deal with things that are pressing matters you have to deal with at home, and then to sit down and dedicate 2 to 3 hours a day consistently towards a eBay business is pretty awesome. And but it's definitely a way. I certainly wouldn't have anyone quit their full-time job if they're able to make that and a part-time eBay gig work. I think what you're doing is quite awesome. And I would have continued doing that had I had the option of staying at my job. Unfortunately, for some of us, and I'm sure I'm not the only one out here that had a situation similar to this, but to lose your job through no deed of your own. Again, I had my own department. We had 400 and some odd people, I think, lose their job. And it's quite frustrating. And I'm thankful that I had eBay to fall back on. I could just imagine I'm sure I would have landed on my feet somewhere. But again, working for yourself, I find, is a lot more rewarding than working for someone else. It's quite awesome. And you don't really realize that until you do this full time. I've noticed eBay only gives my store traction when I'm logged in and listing new items. Rarely can I squeeze a sale out if I'm not logged in anymore. I also think that you get traction whenever you open up that eBay app. I think it does help. I have my eBay app here on the phone. I'll take a look at it every so often. I'll answer questions through the app rather than going onto my computer. I think that does give eBay, it does give your account some traction on eBay. It makes them think that you're utilizing both platforms. I don't like to list. There was a moment I did like to list on the app, but because it wants you to, it defaults for me. It defaults at auctions, and I don't do auctions, and it's lacking for me. So I really don't use the app to list, but I use it for everything else. Ed says, I start work at 3 a.m. off at noon, and then I either thrift, list, photograph until maybe 4, because still need to make time for the kids and family. But you're still working though. So you really work from 3 a.m. till about 4, because those photographs and sourcing, that's part of your gig. That's part of the hours you're putting in. Let's see. That's a great schedule for reselling. I was a UPS driver for 24 years and only had weekends. When I started it, it was a struggle. And it's not easy, that's for sure. eBay rewards activity of almost any kind, it seems. Yeah, and that's why, go in and do bulk edits. Even if you don't really have anything to edit, like I've shared with you guys, I did that this morning. Went in with anything to any item that was over 7 days old. I'd go in and I would do a bulk edit to where I'm giving a 0.2% reduction on my buy it now price. It's not a lot, but every day for 2-3 weeks starts to add up, and eventually your item's going to find that market price, the price that maybe is lower than you want, but what your customer wants to pay. And you'll find that happy zone when it comes to your price. But also at the same time, you're showing eBay consistent activity. And it's a good thing to do when you're out and about. Let's say you're taking a day off. Take 5 minutes and do a bulk edit on your listings. Take 5 minutes and send offers to watchers. Even if you don't plan on listing anything that day, it still shows some type of activity to eBay. And the grind, we love to see it. I love to see it. It's what I do. And it's funny. It seems like people want to call it a grind, but when you enjoy doing what you do, it's not really a grind. It's just something you enjoy, and you're getting paid for it. Now there are good and bad, and there's more good than bad, thankfully, which keeps it enjoyable. I'm constantly sending offers, adjusting prices, right? And we'd really like it if eBay actually made a seller check-in for the next eBay Open, talking about these assumptions about the algorithm, if they're true or false. Yes, I would love to see a live eBay Open. I think even this whole virtual eBay Open that eBay had early in the year, for me, it was you couldn't really have that conversation. So if you were one-on-one with someone, you can actually ask a few questions and keep focused on that topic, rather than them answering your question real fast and moving on to the next thing. So yes, I hope that there is another eBay Open that's like they had out here in Vegas, but I think it's gone away with the ability to call a rep, rather than you get a call back. So I just think that they don't want to do it. Yes, it's an algorithm that wants to make the company money. The more you list, the more traffic they give you. And just like a YouTube algorithm, they want to see daily listings. That's exactly right. It's a lot like YouTube. Whenever I see a slowdown on my YouTube channel, I can usually see that it's maybe because I've put out 2 videos a week versus 4. And it's the same thing with eBay listings. If you're not, you can only get out of eBay what you're willing to put in. And if you're willing to put in, constant listings, rather than I'm just going to list once a week, you're not going to have a lot of success. And so, like, I've done some store reviews from people, and there's only so many things that you can notice in the listing itself. But what you can't see is, you might be having slow sales because your activity isn't consistent. So there's a reason. Usually there is a reason why your sales aren't there. eBay just doesn't select accounts. I had Biscuit Butt Archie tell me, eBay doesn't like me. It's not that. There's got to be something more to it than that. And once you find it, then you need to do that consistently, because chances are you weren't showing consistency. Ed, it's so important to maintain balance. So your kids will be growing in a blink of an eye. Yes, take the time off to spend with your kids. Don't just be the guy that or gal that sits at that computer after you get off work and all you do is work. Because from someone who has 3 adult children now, actually 4 adult children, you miss that time that you could have spent with them, but by the time they're adults, it's too late. I think this is PY23. I think people read into the inner workings of eBay too much. You could keep it simple, keep it simple. You want to get your listings. I have X amount of listings I'm going to do every day. I'm going to answer my customers' questions. I'm going to complete what eBay is asking me for, and then I'm going to move on. And then certainly that's a good way to look at it, and just don't worry about, what do I need to tweak here? What do I need to tweak there? But I think for me, it's trial and error. What works here? What works there? Should I do this differently? Am I going to get more sales if I do this instead? And for me, that is quite awesome. I think that it helps me find things maybe I wasn't doing before, and that definitely is working for me. So keep it simple or tweak things, but whatever works best for you, I'd say. If you're comfortable just listing and nothing else, then keep doing it. And Julio, $20 super sticker. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Thank you for that. And honestly, I named this video, a Monday motivation, but I have been thinking about what we talked about over the weekend. I had a conversation with Julio, and we were talking eBay stuff, and it was very, very motivational for me. And got to say, though, that information you gave me on that product, went to go check on it, and both variations show sold out. So I don't know if that's normal, if that just happened, but let me know. I appreciate that. Let's see what else we have here. eBay departments do not talk to each other. That's for sure. A rep is clueless on engineering. They're clueless on a lot of things. They're clueless on their own policies half the time. But I will say, lately, the 2 times I've been able to speak to a rep and it was just a shot in the dark, I don't have any hope in having my situation resolved when I talk to a rep. But the last 2 times, the situations were not only resolved, but resolved a little bit better than I had thought. For instance, I had a return today that I received, and the toner cartridges. Don't know if you guys, how many of you out there know about toner, but these Brother toner cartridges, they have a foil pouch, okay, and there's a serial number on the pouch that matches the cartridge. And of course, when someone opens a return saying, hey, this doesn't work, which, okay, fine. Maybe you did it wrong. Maybe you have the wrong printer, whatever it is, fine. We accept the return. Okay, you send it back, and I'd send you a message before you send it back, or a message through eBay saying, please return everything, including the internal packaging, so you can get a full refund. The item comes back, no protection at all, just the box and the toner itself. The internal packaging's gone. No styrofoam to protect the cartridge, no foil pouch with the serial number. I have no way to know if that item is the same one I just sent out to you. So yeah, there's going to be a deduction on that refund. But in this case, I go to, and this is the second time it's happened to me, I go and use the refund tool, and it won't allow me to make a deduction. I click every box, I put every reason in there and add photos, and it still doesn't work. Well, I called to say, hey, what's going on here? Am I being blocked from using this tool, or is there a glitch again? And she puts me on hold a few times. That's fine. That's expected. She comes back and says, don't worry about it. We're going to refund the buyer on your behalf. I said, I wasn't calling to get a full refund on this. But, hey, it worked out. So again, I just think that eBay is clueless. The reps are clueless, but they are getting better. Hopefully they are. Every store has a traffic cap based on an internal scoring compromise of every metric and quality of listing. And, I think I heard on another podcast, a live stream, that eBay throttles certain stores. So they look to see what you can handle as a seller, and they'll prevent you from blowing up and being overwhelmed to where you can't deliver what you're promising your customer if you have so many sales. I don't know how the algorithm figures that out, but I'm sure that's a thing. If you're going to list once a week, it's better to do all the picks and drafts and spread them out over the week versus listing in one day. So let's say I have only Saturdays to list. I work full time. I list Saturday, spend time with the family on Sunday. Don't list them all on Saturday. Do your draft. So list 5 for Saturday, and then do enough to where you can space your listings over the next, say, 6 days as drafts. And then every morning, wake up, take 2 minutes, launch your drafts, and you're good. So many scammers this week. Thankfully, I haven't really, I don't know, call that buyer a scammer that didn't send my packaging back. I just think that they're inconsiderate. Maybe they weren't looking at their messages. Maybe they didn't care. But, to send back something, whenever you're dealing with a return, you have to send the seller back everything that you receive. You can't just pretend we're Amazon and just send whatever you want in any box, and you're going to get a refund because Amazon doesn't look at their returns. Well, we're individual sellers. We look at our returns, and we're actually encouraged to do so. So the buyers, and I call them Amazon buyers, they think that it's all the same, but it's not. I agree. Just improve what you're doing every day. And through tweaking, trying this and trying that, it's part of that improvement process. It's a learning process. I can learn what tweaks I can do to this. And, like, for instance, the Joe from the Crazy New York Driver Show was saying, hey, every time, at least for me, every time I end my sale, the following day, I get tons more sales. I tried that. And I tried doing that. I tried running a 6-day sale on that Monday, no sale, and then a new sale starting up Tuesday. That didn't work for me, but it works for him, and he swears by it. So you're going to find for your niche what works for you. You should stick with that, but only through trial and error can you figure that out. Download the listing quality report. It shows how you rank against others in each category. That's good. I think that's a lot better for someone who has a niche. For someone like me, I'm selling probably 20, 30 40 different categories. And I'm just not sure where I would fall in. And so that's the downside. The plus to that is someone like me can have higher returns. And because I sell in multiple categories, it doesn't hurt me like someone with the same amount of returns in, say, one or two categories. Let's see here. So we have a lot of people in chat. We still have 69 people. That's awesome for a Monday afternoon. Jim Owen, I got eBay to remove some listing fees that should not have been there. Pleasantly surprised. Yeah, check your invoices, your monthly reports to make sure you're not being charged for stuff. There's been reports where people were, especially with this fiasco going on, the seller update, where people were being charged a gallery fee, where like certain categories before it was free, but they moved the category and now it's costing them like $1 per item. So check that. If you're late on the shipment, a bunch of returns, INADs, they will lower your traffic. Yes, they will. Next valuation usually happens like on the 20th of each month to determine what your seller level is. But all those things, items not as described, returns, defects where you don't take care of it. And someone even said something to the effect of how fast you respond to your buyer does get calculated in that equation somewhere. And, so if you let customer questions just linger and don't get back to them right away, it's not as good as getting back to them as soon as you can. There is a glitch on my account allowing people with no feedback to buy, which you keep setting, but it won't say. I don't think you can set a thing like that unless we're dealing with, I think you can set something to where if they have item not paid strikes, if they have more than 2, you can prevent them from doing that. I know, at least from what I've seen. Of course, correct me down below if I'm wrong. And then, yeah, not possible to block people with no feedback from buying, because again, eBay looks at it the way I said before. Yeah, had a sale. Awesome. That's a $350 sale. Not going to check their, well, I might check their feedback right now while we're at it. But, um, it's one of those things where people have to start off at some point. Someone may have just decided, hey, I want to start buying on eBay. And it's a shame to say to a good buyer who knows no better, they're not very familiar with eBay, you can't buy from me because you don't have activity. I get it as a seller. If you are hesitant of dealing with someone that has zero feedback, but not a buyer so much. This particular person has almost 900 feedback, so I'm very happy to sell them this item. It's a one of those Green Star Elite juicers that sell for about 600 on Amazon. I had for 350, 367 is what it sold for. And the reselling writer, I'm doing 5 listings a day because my death pile is huge. I want to make sure I still have some to list while I photograph and organize the new inventory. I was thinking about this earlier. I'm processing this newest pallet, but I haven't bought another pallet. Usually I'll buy a pallet and pick it up the following week, and I haven't found one yet. So I don't want to get to a place where, I'm outlisting my ability to source. But yes, if you have a death pile, you got to get it up, get that thing up. Even though a lot of people talk about Q4, I get great sales in January, February. So that's the sales are going to keep going, but you got to get those listings up. Had to block a buyer today. She bought a medium jacket and returned it. Bought the same jacket in a large and returned. Both didn't fit. Blocked. Yes. My block list, I need to go and update it. I have a block list I think it's outdated. I have some that are saying not even a registered user on some of these. Yeah, my block list is very long, and I'm sure if we all shared one, I think it would break eBay because there's a lot of people that are blocked. I must have about 200, but if we combine, like, and do a master list somewhere, I'd like to see how that would go. I think it works great for Joe because his niche isn't very common like ours. And any of you aren't familiar, Joe, the Crazy New York Driver Show, he sells hubcaps. He's known as Hubcap Joe, and he sells in eBay Motors. And I think, every category is a little different. You can talk about postcards, collectibles, heard conversations about dolls. Those are all different categories. And to compare what I do, electronics and really everything, with those categories is very difficult. But I'm not against trying it out. I tried it out and it didn't work, and what he was doing. And so now I'm on to try different things. I changed my sales just to run throughout the month, and it's back to good sales. Anyone dealing with item-specific changes on variation listings? So if someone can answer Dan's question, that would be really helpful. If you are watching this after the fact, put the answer down below in the comments. I'd certainly appreciate that. Tommy says, read it closely, Lynn. Nothing about blocking new buyers. eBay would be out of business. It's people with none paying strikes. Yeah, so it's your, and I remember InkFrog having this clearly set in the listing template that you can block people with 2 or more non-paid item strikes. And that is something you can do. And I think you can go into your selling preferences on eBay and set it if you're not using InkFrog or anything like that. Lowball buyers, yes, they do drive you crazy sometimes. Usually decline those right away. I will hit them with, maybe if I can make the deal. Let's meet halfway. If I can make that work with my expenses and it doesn't hurt me too bad, I'm trying to move an item, I'll hit them back with, how about we meet halfway at whatever. A lot of times that makes a sale. Or of course you can just let them go, but I think that's a potential sale. Anytime you get your customer's ear and can interact with them in a conversation, it's an opportunity. And of course, you're not always going to convert those opportunities, but at least it's one more opportunity than you had if the customer didn't lowball you. The flipping sports guy had to redo all the sports cards. The attribute he was using was no longer allowed. Yeah. And there's a lot of that going on. And again, they should be doing this in the spring update, not here in the fall when we're getting ready for Q4. Let's see. John Reynolds, what do you do when someone has a low feedback? Do you cancel? Generally, no. Generally, no. I like to see, like for instance, I like to see who I'm dealing with. A lot of times I'll see, what I'll even go as far as looking at the feedback they left for others. Of course, I just want to see who I'm dealing with. I'm still going to send them the same item, the same way, the same care when I'm shipping their package. But sometimes you get someone and you look at their feedback left for others and you go, oh boy, all they do is leave negative feedback and they've left like a dozen in the last month. You kind of worry. But as far as, trying to prevent scammers, I've seen scammers with hundreds of feedback. And so there's no way to really weed those people out. I have a buyer who gave me an incorrect address and the item got returned. They are willing to pay to ship it again. How do they pay me for the label? Send them a message. Tell them that you're going to invoice them through PayPal for the cost of the shipping label, and send them an invoice through PayPal with the email address. Once they pay it, then go on and run your label that way. That's what I've done before. eBay doesn't mind if you're exchanging email address information, provided it's regarding that transaction and not someone looking to buy your item off of eBay. And they do review your messages, that type of thing. Let's see. John, with liquidation, how are issues resolved if items are not included with your pallet? I buy estate auctions online and have some nightmare cases with damaged goods and lots not being included. Well, as far as that is concerned, whenever you're dealing with a pallet that's not complete, you can report it through some of the liquidators, like liquidation.com. You can provide information to them, and that information is sent on to the seller, and there's a dispute period. But generally with liquidation, it's assumed that you're going to not get, I think it's like 5% of whatever is manifested is possible not to show up in your lot. So if it's egregious, I certainly reach out, and if they don't take care of me, like I had problems with direct liquidation before. I'm not bad mouthing them. I'm just telling you what happened, where I had to seek other remedies because they just weren't working with me. I mean, we're talking the top 6 items of a pallet not showing up. I mean, it's manifested, it's ranked by value, and your top 6 items, we're talking $300, $400 items, PlayStations, stereo receivers, this, that, and other thing, just not there. And to me, that's sort of a bait and switch and should never happen. Are these estate auctions? Are they, I guess I would take it that they're manifested in some way. So I'm interested in hearing about that. Are those shelves you have the ADX ones from Home Depot? How do you like them? Yeah, they're sturdy. The black and yellows that I have behind me here are sturdy. I've had them since I started in 2019, and they hold up very well. I can put a lot of stuff on those, and that's kind of what I do. So like the shelf that's on the top there above my head, that's shelf 1, then below that 2, and it goes down the ladder, and then the top of the shelf across from, or to the next to it by the photo station behind me is, or over here, right there is shelf 6. And so my SKU will actually have the shelf number, and then I will find that item there. And I have like 60 shelves. I have this room, I have the room upstairs, I have the garage as well. So it works out pretty well. Liquidations are often a risk, and they make it very clear that 30% or more of the products could be unsellable. Yes. So I, in my mind, calculate that 25% of this merchandise is going to be just trash. Maybe I can part it out, that type of thing, but the majority is just trash, and that's fine. I accept that because I'm going to find that there's a good portion of it that's going to be open box like new. Some will be sealed brand new. Some will have some signs of wear, and anywhere in between. And I'm going to make at least, I think, 60-70% of retail on the average when it's all said and done. My new ones are going to get more, my used ones are going to get less, but it all averages out. So that's why I have my 40-40 method. I think I made a couple videos on that. So when you're sourcing something, let's say it's $10,000, I expect to make 40% of that. So of course that's lowballing myself. Chances are if I get a decent lot, I'll make 50 to 60% of that. Now I expect to make 40%, and then I take 40% of that, and I want to be into that lot for no more than 40% of what I plan on making, which by this example would be $1,600. So when I'm sourcing that, the cost of the lot and the cost to get it to me, I don't want to be into it for more than $1,600 per $10,000 value. Now, if I like the lot is a strong lot, let's say it's a lot of Apple products, that kind of thing, I'll go as high as 50-50. So I expect to make at least 5,000 off that 10,000 MSRP, and I'll go as high as 2,500, which is 50% of what I plan on making. That's my formula. It works for me. I've had a lot of people give me feedback on how it works for them, and that's how it works. But yes, liquidation is very, very unpredictable. You can have great lots where there's virtually no waste, and you can have lots that's 50% or more. It's just kind of the part of the game. Water Baby, if the lowball buyer comes back with a new higher offer, I know they are serious, then I'll make a counter offer. There's something you usually say that will seal the deal. For me, it's let's meet halfway. If you can afford to do that, or hey, I can go this far, and again, you're having that conversation with your buyer. I think some of us just want to set a price and send them a rebuttal. But I think if you say, hey, look, I'm going to mail this out right away. This is the last one I have in stock. Chances are it'll sell for higher than this, but I can give you a $10 discount if you want it now. You have the opportunity by just having that dialogue to sell your item. And again, you're not going to sell to everyone that makes you a lowball offer, but I wouldn't let it upset you. It's just an opportunity that maybe you didn't have if you didn't offer best offer. And I don't really offer best offer on a lot of my items. But when things start to get slow, of course, I'll add that to a lot of my listings. Let's see, Rob, I have a couple shelves from Home Depot and they're sturdy. Yeah, I have the metal one, the real heavy metal one out there for my larger items, and it's awesome. Water Baby says, I usually try to meet halfway on the counter. I mean, it just depends on the item. If it's a hot item, I won't go that far. If it's an item that's been sitting for a while, then definitely halfway. Let's move it. Let's get the money for it and move on. Let's see. What's the deal with multiple purchases? Not sure I understand. Maybe someone else was talking about that. I generally don't get a lot of multiple purchases on mine because I have so many different items in my store. If you have a niche, you're more likely to have a buyer who will buy multiple items. Lynn, it says, I've been a seller for 4 years and all of a sudden, one after the other, I get no feedback. Or they buy, then cancel, and never had this issue until now. You know what? I notice a lot of things come in waves on eBay. So just when I think, I haven't had a return in a couple days or a return request, here comes 2 or 3 of them. And it's like, so if I just didn't say anything, I wouldn't have had this return. It just comes in waves. Things will get better. Any tips to save money or secrets about Amtrak that you can tell us? So trade secrets, right? Not really. There's you can always ask the rep when you call the rep if there are any discounts. If you're planning on going around the country, you can use the Explore America Fair. I feel like I'm back at work now, where you can make so many trips within a 30-day period and in a certain zone, and it's covered under one price, that kind of thing. But yeah, go to Amtrak.com and check out their prices on that. But yeah, I'm sure things have changed so much in the last 2.5 years that I'm probably wrong about half of what I just told you. I've sold stuff to people that have made eBay account that day to buy for them. Yeah, and Joe from Crazy New York Driver Show also talks about that a lot. How he gets a lot of these new people that just sign up for his item, and I don't hear him having a whole lot of problems for that. Let's see. Only times I've ever had feedback extortion or partial refund scammers is with high feedback buyers. The more feedback, the more experienced, right? And they know that that heavy item that they bought from you may not have an issue, but if they say, "Hey, I got a problem with this," and usually they'll end the conversation with, "What would you like to do about it?" or "What do you plan on doing about it?" That's code speak for "I want a partial refund." And sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and be willing to pay that return label and call their bluff. Let's see. Thrifty Spender, on the page where you block buyers under buyer requirement, it lets you block buyers with 5 or less feedbacks. So someone look into that, but I'm not going to do it. I get enough sales from these 0 feedback buyers, and more often than not, they're just someone that's a new eBayer. Maybe, like I said, on those high ticket items, it might be something to select, if you can select it per item and not just overall eBay preferences. I use either a white or black foam poster board background. Anyone have problems with the board falling over all the time or trying to get the item to fit the shot? So put that down below. I use a vinyl. It's like a vinyl roll, and it's like a 40-foot roll, I think. And I run it from my wall and then comes over the bottom of my table that's adjacent to the wall there. And I fasten it with like tacks or whatever. And I got to tell you, what's good about that is you can clean it up. Like if you use paper or that poster board, you can kind of get dirty over time. I think it's like $40 on Amazon. You can find it. I think it's like a PVC roll, a white photo roll or something like that. The estate auctions on a per lot basis. Some lots have just one item and others are larger lots with multiple items in them. Been buying bigger lots for better for the per item cost. Yeah, but whatever works for you. If that's, and I think you sell a lot of like antiques and collectibles. I think, if I recall previous conversations, that's what works for you. Then continue doing what you do. That's good advice for others, though, who may not be aware of that being a thing. Any advice on a cheap and effective background setup? Okay, so again, you see behind me. I'll try to move a little bit so you can see. So things not in focus anymore. You see that between my 2 racks? All that is I have a flat piece of cardboard between the middle row or the middle rack on each side. Okay. And so it's long enough to where it's stable. And then I put, believe it or not, I have some poly bags that are set there. And then I put that vinyl over it. Okay. And then I have on the side, I have 2 lights that are LED clamp lights that are clamped to the little poles on my racks there that are adjustable. And that's it. So when it's too hot to go list out in the garage where I have my full size set up for my larger items, I just do that in here. As long as it's no more than 10 pounds, and you can use something more sturdy there to go across. I just haven't needed to yet. Even cardboard's sturdy enough, and it works. It looks good. I use a background removal tool anyway, so it's okay. In-person estate sales are mostly per item around me. I want to branch out and get more items to drive the price per item down. Then Tommy says, Thrifty Spender, read the whole thing, but only applies to the box above for multiple purchases. So that's talking about where you can block 5 people with less than 5 feedback. Notice you cannot put it to 0 items. 1 is the minimum. I think I'm right in saying that. Water Baby, build a box out of the board and line it with fabric so it's seamless. You can also change the aspect ratio of your camera and make it fit your box. Really, lighting is probably the only thing you have to be worried about, getting enough light on your item. But you can use really any area once you get that. A lot of people like to use natural light. So, you know, you can go outside and during the daytime and take photos. I like to use a background removal tool. So whatever background I have at the time is going to be removed anyway. I had a buyer counter with me, 1 cent increments. Yeah, that's when you ignore those people. Jim says, off topic, but anyone here to try to sell a new wave oven with cracks in the dome? No. I mean, I'm sure people would buy the parts if there's a problem for it, though, with it. Now I'm going to start getting winding up here because it's an hour and 15 minutes, and I only plan on doing this for an hour. So let's see what other ones we have before I leave. I don't promote anymore. Found that my sales were the same with 1% promotion and without it. Why give eBay more money for the same amount of sales? And I think that really, again, has to do with the category you sell in. You know, if you sell one-off items with low competition, you shouldn't be using promoted listing. If you are finding that when you do a search on your item and there's a dozen or more competitors, you know, certainly utilize that promotion because you want to find a way to get your item higher up in search. What background removal tool do I use? It's Photo Room. I pay $60 a year, and what it does is it processes each photo very fast on my iPhone in batches. But I think there's a free version that does it one at a time, and I find that it's the best tool that I can use without having to go in there and outlining stuff. It does it for me. Let's see. I don't know what your budget is, but I purchased a Linko photography set that includes 4 lights and stands, 3 muslin black backdrops, and a camera stand that also holds a cell phone for $120. So there you go. Amazon is a very good place to find it. Photo Room is free. It is, but if you use the feature that gives you the bulk edit or the bulk background removal, where I could take 100 photos literally and select them all and then run, and it will remove background out of all of them in like 5 minutes. Whereas if you do them all individually and you have to go through the whole process for every photo, that would take you about 3 to 4 times, 3 or 4 times the amount of time that it would take me. And Will uses Photo Room on his Android as well. So yeah, Photo Room is definitely the way to go. Again, they don't support this channel in any way, shape, or form. They probably don't even know this channel exists, but I definitely do recommend using them. John Reynolds says, thanks, John. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And thank you for all the super chats. I certainly wasn't expecting that today, but again, I'm here to help you in any way I can. If you're watching this show later, or if you have a question that pops up that you weren't able to ask, please go back to the channel, look for the video, leave a comment down below. And while you're at it, hit that like button so that others can be aware of this content. Sorry about all the the goof ups earlier. You know, sometimes it's when you're doing these impromptu live streams, it can be sort of your mind's racing, you're reading comments, you're trying to focus on what's going on here. You might get a sale, and it's this YouTube gig is definitely a learning experience, but I do enjoy talking to you guys and trying to help out whenever I can. But thank you guys again. And just remember one last thing, you guys probably know, flipping ain't easy. And I will have a video out for you guys here in the next couple days. Take care, everyone.